Why, hello there. I would like to talk to you about words we use and what that means to us. My name
Ooh.
is Rodney, and
And
this
I'm the
is Rodney
headset
and Keith
guy.
Ripping.
And I'm Keith.
He's the
The
headset guy. Well, I got headset on. I just
I
also
know.
have the,
This is my
you
new
know,
headset though, and
it sounds good.
it sounds better, but it
I
certainly
look more
doesn't
like
fit the
I'm in a
profile.
studio,
Yeah, it
and you
doesn't
look
fit the
more like you're in a
profile.
call center.
Yeah. But Rod and Keith riffing is where we riff about
Got it
random
right that time.
things. Yeah.
And today
Where
we're
we
gonna,
riff about random things,
yeah,
and we record the conversations that we have on a normal basis in an effort to, hey, maybe they're entertaining to others because we've been told they're entertaining to some. So, um,
trying to
today,
move things forward.
today
Words we use.
we're talking about words we use. What do you mean by that?
Just language, man. Language is, as I understand it, our best attempt to describe the things that we see, feel, hear, yada yada yada. And it's our best attempt to, like, you and I are English speakers, and we use it to communicate with each other. Yet it breaks down so frequently. So it's like, and then even more than that, like, we talked a little while ago about holidays and Christmas, and it's like certain words tend to trigger certain people. Um, and I won't even say trigger, like words just have meanings for
Mm-hmm.
people. And me being, at least in the past, a hyper literal person, like if somebody said a word the wrong way or said the wrong word in the context, I would just shut down and lose the meaning and lose the flow of the conversation. So I'm just curious, like, how do you feel about all that?
No, I've evolved on this. I'm a fairly verbose individual who likes to use words and expects everybody to know what I'm saying. And I tend to try to be precise with my language, but I'm not always. But I think I am, and then it doesn't necessarily equate to like. And then I'll ramble, and it's like, "What are you trying to say?" But it's like, "Didn't you understand?" Right? And the interesting thing about specific words, to your point, is words all have their connotation and their denotation, right? We can look things up in the dictionary and say, yeah, this is what it means. I get it. But there's a word. So here's a really good example, the word peruse. Now, are you familiar with the definition of peruse?
I am, but I could tell you what I think it means without
Tell me,
looking it
tell
up.
me what you think it is.
To skim or to quickly look through some words, like
Okay.
read through some words.
So I was watching Silicon Valley on HBO, great show
Mm.
by the way, the other day, and there was one of the main characters was trying to bond with all the engineers, and it was this weird subplot. And she went over and said to one of the guys, "I was perusing your profile," and the engineer, who doesn't like her, says, "You know that means to examine or consider with attention and in detail, right?" So, so you read it thoroughly, is basically what he was saying. But here's the funny thing about peruse. One definition is to examine or consider with attention and in detail.
I
The
didn't know that.
very next definition is to look over or through in a casual or cursory manner.
That's the one I thought.
They have the
That's
complete
opposite.
opposite definitions of the same word.
That's confusing. So definitions can be confusing, and then on top of that, language is colloquial. It is cultural. So it's based on geography.
That's right.
Like it's based on family. Like so many different things. Like, oh,
So
bro,
many
like we don't.
factors.
Yeah,
So many. It's like we had one of our guests on who is Asian and went to a white family and said, "Well, what was the phrase?
chop chop.
Chop chop." And the white family's like, "Oh, we don't use
Well, we don't
that
say
in
that.
this family because it's degrading of Asians." She's like, "Yeah, but my dad uses it all the time,
She's
right?"
like, but I'm Asian,
And
and I've
so,
never thought of that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've never thought of it that way. But then it's like, oh, wait a second, maybe it is. And I think at the end of the day, we need to be. I used to just be very. I get frustrated. Like, don't you know what words mean? I have come to a totally different place. Like, you know what? Just because I say something and it means something to me, and generally probably means the same thing to a majority of people, but a majority is 51%, right? So
As
49%, it could mean something totally different too. It
for
doesn't
sure.
make it right or wrong at that point, right? And I think we need to be a little bit more graceful with how other people receive the things that we say. So
Well,
we're not,
even even right or wrong, I think right or wrong is irrelevant because if you're trying to communicate with somebody, you've got to have a common understanding.
Yeah.
So I've been just trying to, like, as I listen more in conversations, it is stunning how frequently I'll be in a text group or in a conversation with just one on one, and I say a word or they say a word, and everybody interprets it differently. So like all the answers that come back are kind of tangential to it, but nobody's having the same conversation.
Right.
So it has become my favorite thing to be like, whoa, 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 hold up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we all mean about this first, and then we can have the
Yeah.
conversation. So we're having the same conversation.
Another great example, and I'll use it just between you and I, not yeah, obviously one that happened between you and I, is the word script. So Rodney and I do this for our consulting business, do this hour-long session, and oh no, it was something to do with these, and he wanted to script it out, and basically it was create an outline so we have a common structure. This is the way he intended it. I took it as you want to write out word for word exactly what we're going to say. And we were on different planes of having that conversation.
Yep.
So I was expecting a whole bunch more work when he was expecting a whole different set of expectations. We had to come together on using that word in a fashion that we both understood what we meant collectively,
Yep.
even though the word can be commonly understood in one form or fashion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, you
So what
know,
are the like words we use? Is it important to you? Yes or no? Hit us up in the comments.
comments.
Deuces.
Deuces.